Hey artists, have you ever felt like you struggle to make your daytime scenes alive and believable? Well, don't worry, because today I will teach you how I do daytime lighting in my digital art process in 6 steps. But before that, I want to talk about the brushes I use. The last 3 are default Procreate brushes, and the Hair Strokes brush is a custom brush I made completely by myself, and I will teach you how you can make it too, later in the video. Remember that it's not entirely necessary for you to use the exact brushes I use. You can do whatever you're comfortable with. The important is to learn the most from this video. That aside, let's get started. Obviously, I'm going to talk about the basics before I teach you how I render. Duh. Like, what did you think? Anyways, let's use this reference for analysis. Since we're doing daytime lighting scene, our main light source is the sun, which is a powerful light source, so there will be sharper edges in shadows and lights in general. But of course, there will definitely also be soft edges in some places due to the object's three-dimensional form. Other than the shape of the shadows, let's view their colors. If you've noticed, the shadows aren't pure black here, but they're blue. But why? Couldn't it have been green? Red? Purple? Well, yes, it could have, but not in this scene. This is because of the ambient light. The ambient light is generally the color of the sky, and if the scene is indoors, then the color of the walls. Pretty simple, right? So the next time you choose the color of your shadows, don't pick them randomly, remember the ambient light in your scene. Now it's time for my favorite part, the subsurface scattering. I bet you've seen a lot of artists do this. What I'm talking about is the red saturated part on her face, between the light and the shadow. Although this mostly shows up on translucent objects, I like to do it on most places where the light and the shadow meet. It's a stylistic choice in my opinion. This is the last concept I will talk about before I finally teach you how I apply what you've learned. In here, where there's more stuff in the environment, I want you to see how his clothes get greener. Here. Those greens are coming from the leaves of the tree behind him. This is called reflective light. Since the sunlight is so powerful, when it hits an object, some of its rays bounce around. With each bounce, they become weaker. In my previous painting, I added bounce light under the swan on Nakamura's hat, on the wall behind them, and on Nakamura's hand under Iran's face. This makes the objects in the scene look like they are interacting with each other, making the lighting look more realistic. So, now that we've learned all of this, how do we do it? How do we apply what we've learned? Obviously, you can do this however you feel comfortable, but if you feel lost, I can help. I will go through how I made this. You can do some things differently from me, just be sure that you know what you're doing. We'll start by adding the base of our shadow. As I said earlier, the color of your shadows should be a color matching your environment. Since my painting is outside, I chose my shadow color to be blue. Once I choose a color, I fill the whole silhouette with the character and multiply layer mode. If I don't like how it turned out, I adjust the color from the HSB adjuster. Before I move on to the next step, I like to save the final color so I wouldn't lose it. To do that, I turn the layer blend mode back to normal, pick the color, turn the layer blend mode back to multiply and save the color somewhere I wouldn't lose it. This helped me with shaping the shadows better by having both the eraser and the brush in the correct color. Now that we've put our objects in shadow, we will start adding light by erasing the proper parts. You should always know where your light source is coming from. Mine is coming from the top left, so I erase every part of an object facing it. It doesn't have to be detailed yet, just erase the big parts. When I paint my shadows, I like to pay attention to the textures and 3D shapes of what I'm rendering. For example, the hair is made of strands, so I use a textured brush for it. Other than that, I soften some round parts, like the side of the leg, the knuckles, and the side of the neck, with a soft brush on smudge tool. After adding the textures, I start focusing on small details of the shadows and the light, such as the cast shadows and the variety of the soft and sharp edges on the shadows. Once I'm done with all of the shadow and light shaping, I turn on alpha lock on the shadow layer, and with a soft brush, apply the colors of the surrounding objects. In my case, since Ash is sitting on the grass, there will be a lot of parts in green. I left the parts that aren't facing the grass blue, which was from the sky. For this step, I pick an orange color and add a new layer and set the blend mode to overlay. But before I do anything else, I do something that limits the brush strokes inside the shadow layer. This is a stylistic choice, it's not necessary to do this. But if you want to, then simply select the shadow layer, go to select and to select everything inside of the shadows. On Procreate's default settings, you have the selection mark visibility on. Personally, it distracts me and doesn't allow me to see the overall painting when I color, so I turn it off. If you want to, you can change its visibility from Actions, Preferences, and at the bottom, Selection mark visibility. That aside, I use a soft brush or hard blend brush for this step, depending on my mood. If you don't like the color of the subsurface scattering, you can adjust it from the HSP adjuster. We are at the final step. The way I like to apply this is on a normal layer. Add a new layer and choose colors from the environment. Then graze the colors slightly over the objects in the correct place with the soft brush and reduce opacity. And that's pretty much it, I guess. I add finishing touches like filters, gradient maps and textures to make the painting look less boring. Hope this video helped you.